Hi, this is my second recording. It's January 14th, 1992, and I didn't make one for the first week of January just because I did that kind of long review of 1991. So, and not much happens really the first week of the year. Not much stuff comes out. It's just kind of like a hangover from New Year's, really. So I figured I'd just do one for this second week since I recorded something like 10 days ago or so, the first one. So with that said, let's get into January. So first 2 weeks of January, it's January 14th. Let's talk about the news, what's going on. So January 1st, I think I'm saying this correctly, Boutros Ghali of Egypt became the sixth Secretary General of the United Nations. January 8th, George Herbert Walker Bush got ill, and he vomits on the Japanese Prime Minister's lap. Ooh, that's kind of embarrassing. I don't know if there's any karma involved in that, but boy, that was kind of funny. Disturbing news, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, January 13th. So this was just yesterday. He pleaded guilty but insane, so he killed a bunch of people. I don't know, I think he ate them or something. Really sick stuff. Really strange there. So that's enough with news. Let's talk about sports. So sports, football is one of those things that is still busy very beginning of the year. Several big bowl games. So January 1st, a lot of bowl games. We had the Fiesta Bowl, Penn State taking down Tennessee. So Penn State was number 6 in the country. Tennessee number 10. Penn State beat them 42-17. And I want to say there were a lot of turnovers in that game. I didn't watch that game, but that score could have been a bit closer than it was. Orange Bowl, number 1 Miami takes down number 11 Nebraska, 22-0. Not a big fan of Miami because of what they did to my Noles, but we'll talk about that in a second. Sugar Bowl, number 18 Notre Dame knocked off number 3 Florida. Ha ha ha, the Gators. 39-28. So how about that? And Rose Bowl, number 2 Washington beats number 4 Michigan, 34-14. So my team is the Florida State Seminoles. They were number 5. We were having such a good season. Number 1 when we played Miami and in November, and that game just barely lost to Miami 17-16. So we had a chance to score, and there was 20-something seconds left on the clock, and FSU, it was 3rd down, and I want to say we were on maybe the 20-something, but we could have kept going for it. We had 20-something seconds left. And instead on 3rd down, we were like, okay, let's just win the game with a field goal. Line up to kick the field goal, and it goes to the right. And that's called wide right. And so we just barely lost that game. But in the Cotton, and so that kind of derailed our season. But still, Cotton Bowl, ranked number 5, beat Texas A&M, who was number 9, 10-2. And that game was kind of interesting. It seemed like we just kept getting some good breaks in that game. We got some turnovers. Texas A&M, it seemed like they were had several scoring opportunities that they just didn't capitalize on. And there was one time, the 2 points that they did get was a safety. So our quarterback, Casey Weldon, he was rolling out to the right, and he is running in the end zone, and he can tell he's got people after him. I don't know why he didn't just throw the ball away, but he takes the tackle in the end zone. He takes the safety. But we had one crazy play where they broke a big run and they were about to score a touchdown. And right at the last second before he goes into the end zone, I think we strip the ball. It comes out, and then because the ball, I think, rolled into the end zone, we got the ball back. Just crazy stuff like that, but we ended up winning the game 10-2, so I'll take it. And then NFL, we had the AFC Championship game on January 12th, and that was Buffalo over Denver, the Bills over the Broncos, 10-7. I didn't get to see that game. And then the NFC Championship, I wasn't really interested in. It was the Washington Redskins beating the Detroit Lions 41-10. So good victory there. So it'll be Bills and Redskins in the Super Bowl. And let's talk about movies. We've got not much coming out because it's the beginning of the year. So I think the only movies that came out were like on the 10th, Hand That Rocks the Cradle. That looks kind of like an interesting thriller. Might see that. And then there's a movie, maybe it's a cop movie. It's called Kuffs. Christian Slater. Probably not going to see that, although I am kind of tempted because the girl in that is really pretty. Mila, I don't know how to say her last name. I think that's her name, Mila Jovovich, something like that. She looks really pretty, but anyway, big movies though still were, I think the first week Hook was still the biggest movie, and then now the biggest movie is Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Biggest kind of shows going on in TV are just shows like 60 Minutes, Roseanne, Murphy Brown. The only one of those that I watch is Roseanne. Kind of a funny show. It's just off the cuff and just honest about a lot of things. And then I've still lately, past couple weeks, I watched Cheers, or I also watched Star Trek Next Generation. That's a good show. And let's talk about music. So, big songs there. We've got Black or White, Michael Jackson. That's been probably the number one song. It's So Hard to Say Goodbye by Boyz II Men is another one. It's so hard to say goodbye. Okay, that's not a good impression, but still a big song. Some of the stuff I'm still listening to is Nirvana, or Motley Crue kind of came back because they had, I guess, released an album again with some of their hits, and Home Sweet Home has been kind of back on, back making the rounds on the radio and stuff. So I kind of like that song. Home Sweet. Okay, I won't do that to whoever might be listening to this, but video games, I do like my Nintendo, and I really want to get a Super Nintendo. I might ask one for my birthday in February. Haven't decided yet, but I've been liking the look of the Super Nintendo, but I like the look of the Genesis too, so. And then eventually, I'd really like a computer. One of my buddies has a computer, I guess it's a 386. It's a IBM compatible, and there's some cool stuff on that. So maybe someday, I just don't know how I'll afford it. But on the Nintendo, I know a couple games I read were coming out this month. There's like an Addams Family game based on that movie, and another movie-based game. There's Die Hard, which might be cool. I'll have to check that out. But Super Nintendo or Genesis, there's even that system, TurboGrafx 16, which might be pretty cool. It just doesn't seem that popular, but everything I've seen in commercials, like the graphics for it, I don't know, it looks good to me. But Lately, I've been either playing Tetris on my Nintendo, my regular Nintendo, or a little bit of Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm probably going to want to try to beat that one, but it's pretty amazing what they did with Part 3. Just on Nintendo, it looks so much better than a regular Nintendo game on that system. And then I also enjoy going to the arcade sometimes. So my friends and I will go to the arcade and also play some of the old school stuff. Like, we used to love games like Super Sprint and Rampage and Gauntlet and all that stuff. But there's a racing game I like, Final Lap 2. That's kind of fun. And just any other things going on. Went back to school for the spring, and let's see, I didn't talk about Christmas. What I got for Christmas, I got a brown leather jacket. Seems like everybody's been getting those, but I had wanted one, so I got one of those, and I got a little stereo system for my room, and some things like that, some clothes. I got some new shoes, some new Sebagos, and that was about it. So that's about it for this update, and we'll talk more about pop culture and all that good stuff probably in another week. Alrighty, thanks. Bye.